Hi, first grade. I know this looks a little different than normal, and that's because I finally was able to configure my document camera. I've had it home with me for a few weeks now, but it took quite a bit of troubleshooting to get it connected. So the reason I want it to be connected is because we are going into double-digit addition in our math, and it's just too tricky for me to do it all upside down as I show you some of our methods we're going to learn. The first thing you should do for today's math is you'll see right here on page 243, sorry, it's a little tricky for me to even see. And thank you for being flexible as I learn how to do this and use this dual video. First things first, on page 243 in your math workbook, there is this awesome family letter. And if you could please show this to your parents, rip it out, give it to them, have them read. The other side is in Spanish. But this just explains a couple of the methods that we will be using in this unit for math. And it's really helpful. And they'll probably be pleased to know that sort of the regular way we learned how to add double digit numbers is there, and it is something that we use, but there are many different methods. So for today's work, make sure that you are working along with me. I would like you to follow along and do the problems as I do them in the same method, but I will give you a chance to play around with some different methods. So this is for your grown-ups. Then you can turn the page, and we are on page 245. You will see some apple trees. We're going to go ahead and get started with this workbook page. We're actually going to play around with this problem before we even go into anything. So here is the scene. We have Uncle David and Aunt Sarah. They have an apple orchard, and they go apple picking. And we're going to use circle drawings to show how many apples Uncle David has picked, 28, and how many apples Aunt Sarah has picked. And then we're going to determine the total. Now, I know some of you are thinking, why don't we just do 28 plus 16? Yes, we can totally do that, and we will do that. But for the time being, work with me as we solve this using circle drawing. So first things first, you'll see some 10 frames here. So that is because when they go apple picking, there are bins that can fit 10 apples each. So you can think of each of these 10s frame as a bin for the apples. So let's go ahead and put Uncle David's apples into the bins. And again, he has 28, and you can only put 10 into one bin. So if you have any leftover apples, you can put them on this blue line. So 28. So I know that if I fill up this box, that's going to be how many apples? 10. And if I fill up this bin, now I have filled a total of 10 plus 10, 20 apples. So but again, he has 28. So let's go ahead and put our extra apples here. That would be 1, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. You could have also sort of done those vertically, but it's easier for me to just put them horizontally. Okay, so we've got Uncle David's apples. Let's double check. 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Great. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing for Aunt Sarah's apple. Go ahead. I'm not going to talk while I do it. You can probably do it on your own too. And again, if you need me to slow down at any time, just pause the video. So I'm going to double check, make sure that I have counted out Aunt Sarah's apples correctly. 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, we've laid out all the apples, but they want to know how many apples total have they picked. All right, how many apples total? And to do this, we're going to first use the bins that we have already filled up. So we know that we have already filled up 1, 2, 3 bins of 10. right? If we were putting them all together. So hopefully you can see that. Let me move something. There we go. That should help. So hopefully you can see my bins as well. Let's go ahead and put 1, 2, 3 of those bins into, of those apples that are all in bins into these down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to just cross this out because I know I've filled that one. Next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, cross this guy out. Don't worry about the extra apples yet. Don't worry about those yet. Let's go ahead and do the 10 that Aunt Sarah filled into a bin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I use pen so that you can see it better. So make sure you have pencil. And oh, cross those out. All right. So we have 30 so far. Those are these, but we have to keep, we still have some more apples. They just didn't fit in the bins. So how many extra apples are there in total? Let's find that out first. Well, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14 extra apples. Are there enough extra apples to fill another bin? If there are 14 and a bin can hold 10? Yes, yes we can, because 14 is more than 10, so we can definitely pull 10 of those extra apples into one of our bins. So let's go ahead and circle 10 of those extra apples. You can do this in multiple ways. Let me show you. I could go ahead and circle these 8 plus 2 of these to make a 10, or I could have circled 5 of these and 5 of these to make a 10. Yeah, those are the two I'll show you. So either way though, let's go with the green one because the green one is obvious to me. So this is a group of 10. So I'm going to fill this guy up. Sorry, I'm a little sloppy, a little quick. But how many apples are left over? We do have some more that won't fit in the bin. And again, I'm using my green circle, so just ignore the pink. So if I were to circle the extras, which I could do, but actually don't circle the extras, I'm sorry, because then it's going to make you think it's a 10 and it's not. Let's count how many extras we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll put them here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now, without having done any vertical or horizontal addition or counting on, we've determined, because we can count by tens, that they have the total apples 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. 44 apples. 44 apples. Nice work. All right, we're going to turn our page. Again, if I'm going too fast, just, you know, just pause the video and keep moving. Okay, now, Uncle David and Aunt Sarah, they go apple picking the next day. They're like, we have so many apples, let's do it. So Uncle David has picked 26 apples this time. Whoops, there you go. Aha, that's a little better. See, I'm getting better with it. Uncle David has picked 26 apples and Aunt Sarah has picked 20 apples. So go ahead and do the same thing that we did on the previous page. So start with Uncle David and then go with Aunt Sarah. Pause the video and try it on your own. When you're done, hit play and you can watch me do it and see if you get it right. All right, now that you've completed this page on your own, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move fast because you already did it. So Uncle David, he has 26. So I already can fill these up. 1, 2, I can fill up 10 and I can fill up another 10 because that will give me 20, 10, 20. And then I'm gonna put my extra apples here, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, a little space, 26. And remember, grouping by fives helps you see it visually more quickly. All right, Aunt Sarah, 20 apples. Well, 20 is made out of 2 10s. So for Aunt Sarah, you should have filled in your 2 10s frames, or the bins that the apples are in, and been left over with no leftover apples in this case. 10, 20, 26, and 20. So go ahead. We can pull these down below. So I'm going to put that first bin here. Hopefully you did it not as fast and not as sloppy as me. Here we go. Uncle David's second group of 10. Nice. Aunt Sarah's, we're going to ignore these because they're not a 10. Aunt Sarah's first group of 10. And Aunt Sarah's second group of 10. And then, how many left over? Do we need to make a group of 10? Can we put another 10 group? No. There's only 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can count our total very quickly. 10, 20, 30, 45, 46. 46 apples total. Now, that was pretty simple, right? Now, in this was double digit addition, right? You essentially just did 26 plus 20, okay? And over here, right, you did 28 plus 16. But we did it in a more visual way. Now what you need to do is put your workbook away. Put your workbook away. And in front of you, you should have a whiteboard or a piece of paper. I have our big whiteboard, if you remember this guy here. And what I'd like you to do is I'm going to give you a new problem from classic Uncle David and Aunt Sarah. They're picking apples again because that's apparently all they do. I don't know if that's their hobby or what, but instead of doing circle drawings, which we were just doing, I want you to try and make, what do we refer to them as? Stick and circle drawings, stick and circle. So, which sometimes we refer to as a proof drawing, because if you recall, this is a hundreds block, and that stands for 100, right? This or this, but in this case, let's use this just a regular stick. That's going to be 10. And then a circle is going to be 1. Hopefully you recall doing this when we were back in our classroom together. So just using 10 sticks and 1 circles. I need a new eraser. I'd like you to solve this problem. Uncle David picked 57 apples. I'm going to write it here. Uncle David, 57 apples. And Aunt Sarah picked 35 apples. How many apples did they pick together? So I want to know the total. Now I know you could very well go right ahead and do, 57 plus 35 like this, which many of you might be able to do already, and that's great. But that's not what I want you to do. I want you to use 10 sticks and 1 circles to try and solve this. So if you're a little confused, you can follow along with me right now. If you think you got it, pause the video and then hit replay and then hit play when you're ready. But if you think you're a little confused and need help, that's okay. Follow along with me. So I'm going to start with my 57. So I'm going to draw 57 in 10 sticks and 1 circles. So 57. If I were to expand the number 57, I would really have 50 plus 7. So how many 10s are made up of, make up 50? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 50. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 1 circles. So that already is 57. And that is in what we call a proof drawing. Okay, that's Uncle David's. Now I have Aunt Sarah's. So I'm just going to do hers below. So that's my 57 plus, let's do 35. So how many 10s are in the number 35? 3. 30, 10, 20, 30. 3 10s for 30. And then how many 1s do I have left over? I have 5. We see it right in the 1s place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, You may have grouped these in different ways. Whatever method you used is fine, but follow along and make sure you didn't miss something as I complete this. So just like when we would add over here, all right, if I were to do vertical, like classic addition, I can do the same thing with my proof drawing. We have done this in class before, so you might already know what to do. The first thing I want is to group. Well, the first thing I want to do, excuse me, is look and figure these are all 10s. These are already in a group together, which is nice and helpful. But what about these? These are a bunch of 1s. And now originally for each different number, for the 57 and then the 35 separately, their 1s weren't enough to make a 10, right? For this guy, we had 7 1s, and for this guy, we had 5 1s. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm putting all these numbers together so I can look at these 1s and am I able to make a new group of 10 from these 1s? Am I able to do that? Hopefully you said yes. And I could have done it in a couple of ways. I could go ahead and say, oh, well, here's 5, and here's another 5. That's 10. Or, oh gosh, Mrs. F, you need a new eraser. Or I could have, oh boy, that's a messy one. That's okay. Okay. Or I could have said, well, this is 7, right? Here's 7 plus 8, 9, 10, stolen 3 from here. All right. Either one works because you end up with the same thing, but this one has now converted itself into a 10. You can even go ahead and then cross that out and turn it into a 10. And now what I have left are all my 10s and some 1s. So let's figure it out. Let's count together and figure out how many we have. Let's start by counting our 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So that's 90 plus how many 1s? 2. So I have a total of how many apples did they pick? 92 apples. Thought I had an extra, I have my bigger eraser, found it. And if you have if you are someone who can do this vertically, well, let's go ahead. We would have said 7 plus 5 equals, I can pull 1 to the 5, so then I have really 6 plus 6, and what's 6 plus 6? It's 12. I put my 2 down here and I carry my 10. Now sometimes people carry 10s and they show by putting the number on top. I don't do that. When I carry my 10, I put my digit down below, because now when I'm adding, I don't add that extra 10 first, I add it last. So then I have 5 plus 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus 1 more, 9. These are 2 different ways to solve addition. Both of them are correct. Whichever way you normally do is great, but when we are doing a certain method in class or together on the screen, you need to try and do it in that method. So hopefully you did this way, because that's what I asked you to do. But, okay. Before we go, now, you know, it's the frustrating thing about this is I don't even know what the timing is. I really should have looked at the clock before I started, but that's okay. So I'm actually recording these videos on Zoom, which is kind of cool. Oh my gosh, and I wonder if that means I'll be able to use this with you, like the dock camera when we're live. That would be amazing. Whoa, new things. Okay, sorry. Your teacher's distracted. All right. Now we're going to do a simpler double-digit addition problem that has what we refer to as borrowing. We're going to do the same one, that 57 plus 35, and I just want to show you the different ways that you can do it. All right, I just showed you, we did the place value drawing, the proof drawing, and we did sort of a classic new grouping method. But let's just recap. Okay, so 57, please go ahead and do this with me on your boards, by the way, or your paper. Write out 57 plus 35, all right. So normally when we are doing classic, this is called new group above. And this is what most of your grown-ups probably know, how to do double-digit addition with borrowing. And we call it borrowing because we are sort of borrowing a 10 group, but you don't have to worry about that right now. So when we do this, we kind of divide our problems into their places, okay? We've got our ones, our tens, and then if we need it, we have hundreds over here and so on. And it's kind of confusing because when you're taught to read, you go from left to right. Well, in math, this classic way, we go right to left. So we start with our ones and we say, okay, well, what's 7 plus 5? You could do that mentally, you can count on, but the answer is 7 plus 5 is 12. But we can't write 12 down here. Nope, we're not gonna do that because then we would have what? We would have a tens in the ones place. So in reality, we're taking our 12 and we're splitting it into its tens and its ones. We put our 2 down here because that's the one that can go in there. Only ones allowed. And then we take our 10 and we bring it up here. All right? We put it on top. 110 with, and the 10 always has 0 ones. But when we normally do this, we don't have to draw the number all big and we never really add the 0. So it will usually look like this. And now what we have is we have a 1 plus 5 plus 3. And in reality, what we're actually adding is 10 plus 50 plus 30. But if you start thinking of the numbers like that, they might seem too big. So you can just focus on them as a one-digit number, although that's not really what they are. This isn't 1 plus 5 plus 3. It's really 10 plus 5 plus 3. Or excuse me, 10 plus 50 plus 30. Your teacher's getting all turned around too. So, but let's just look at the numbers. I would say to myself, okay, well, 5 plus 1 is 6, and 6 plus 3 is 7, 8, 9. And I would put my 9 down here, and I get my answer 92. That's one way. The other way, and I just showed you this, is where it is called new group below. And it's actually the same thing. It's just the placement of the extra 10 is different. So I would start over here, again, right to left is how we go. And I would say, okay, 7 plus 5 equals 12. I can't put 12 down here because that's a 10 and that's not allowed. Remember, all of these areas are they still have their specific place values. So I would say, all right, I can put my 2 down here and then my 10, instead of putting it up top, I can put it right here. And it's like this, right? I'm adding a 10 to my whole addition problem here. I've put the 2 down and I'm adding another 10. But when we look at it, here I'll use my, I don't know if this is my parking ticket or if this is my DMV renewal. Well, either way, I'll cover this up so it's a little easier so we can ignore that part. Now I'm focused on the tens, but I can just read it to myself, 5 plus 3 plus 1. So I do my original addition, 5 plus 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 plus 1, 9. Again, you got the same answer, but you just did it slightly differently. The benefits of doing it this way is you still get to add all the original parts first, and then you add the alterations that you've created, and that can kind of help you understand it a little easier mentally. But sometimes if you're used to doing it on top, that's fine too. That works as well. Okay, now we're going to do the show all totals method. We're doing the same problem, but I'm just making my board clean. Again, please make sure you're following along with me on your whiteboard or your piece of paper. So let's say here's my 57 plus 35. Here we go. All right. And what we are going to do first is we're going to actually do like we would normally do when we read. So from left to right. So the first thing you do is you look at the left part. And you read this as, well, 50 plus 30. And well, 5 plus 3 is 8. So 50 plus 30 must be 80. So you would write 80. Okay. And now we're going to move it over. And we have, 57. Even this one is a little tricky with me. So we have our 57 plus 35 equals 80. But now we have to add to that our next area, which is our 7 plus 5. And what is 7 plus 5? 7 plus 5 equals 12. And we can write that one below. So we have 80 plus 12. And now we can have, they have us rewrite it again. Hopefully you can see this, oh gosh. They have us rewrite 57 plus 35 equals 80. Remember this line here just means equals. 80 plus 12 equals, and then you're writing it out, you're solving 0 plus 2, 92. This just helps you see the place values. So that is one advantage to this method. And you are going from left to right, which is sort of more natural in the way we read. But I personally am not a fan of having to rewrite all the numbers all at the same time. Sometimes it helps if you write out the numbers like this instead. Let me show you. So 57 plus 35, okay? And then I would say, well, what's 57 really in tens and ones? It's 50 plus 7. And what's 35 really in tens plus ones? It's 30 plus 5. And then I would solve 50 plus 30 is 80, and 7 plus 5 is 12, and now I have 80 plus 12, and if I wanted, I can even go crazier and say, well, 12 becomes 10 plus 2, right? So just to help you out, 80 plus 10, 90, oops, sorry, getting a little ahead of myself here, 90 plus 2, 92. If that was too fast for you, no worries, I just am showing you. But if you want to try and do it yourself, you can pause the video and follow along. So that's the same form that we had just done, but written in a little different method. It's kind of like expanded form addition. There are a couple more ways, but I think I'm going to pause the video for there because, excuse me, here for now, because I'm not sure how long the video is, and this is sort of, remember, this is a new method for me, so thank you for bearing with me, and I hope you were able to see all the things. I guess we'll find out when I watch it back to myself. So yes, so today you completed your workbook, you followed along with the video, you're good on math. I do want you to do mathletics for 20 minutes, but because you followed along with me during this video, you can go ahead and play anything you'd like on mathletics. Although I will be assigning specific mathletics activities later in the week, so get ready for that. All right, I will see you later. Bye. Bye.